Hey everyone, Af here. Just a quick video that I wanted to share with you about a cool and nifty Excel trick that I came across recently that delivers, as the title says, basic stats dynamically after you've filtered something. So let's just say you've got, let's just jump right into it. Let's just say that, and this is a fictitious data set that I just created. But let's just say that you've got a bunch of 20 respondents that have taken a survey. Uh, on it, you ask them what their gender is, you ask them what their age is, you ask them what ice cream flavor they like, you ask them how they mostly get themselves around, what kind of transport they use. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that they do three tests, and these are their scores out of 10 on each. Now, this is a small data set, but just kind of think if you had, you know, instead of 20 people take this, you had 1,000 people take this, and then let's just say that you wanted to find out the average age of, say, the females that took your test, or the average age of the males that took your test. Maybe you want to find out how many females like chocolate ice cream as opposed to how many males like chocolate ice cream or something. Furthermore, what about if you want to see if there are gender differences in the test scores um, on average? These are this trick that I'm going to show you returns these values really quickly without you having to enter in equations into a separate cell and kind of move the data around. And it does it really, the equation I'm going to show you does it really intuitively, which is really cool. So let's just jump straight in. The equation is this aggregate function, and as you can see here, the aggregate function has three main bits that you have to put into it. So the function number, the options, and the array or the references. So what sort of cells you're referring to. And I'm just going to bring this little guy over here to help me, and it will show you the function numbers which are here. And look at that! Look at all the functions that it can do. Isn't that pretty cool? So I've just done count, average, standard deviation, median, which are quite sort of routine stats. But if you wanted to find out the maximum, minimum, there's 19 different functions that you could do here. So you could go crazy. You could find out a lot of different things. So let's just say, okay, I just want to find out, I just want to do the count function, which is function number 3. The option, sorry, I didn't show you that before, but the option is basically it tells Excel what it should ignore or not ignore. I usually go with 7, just in case you've got any hidden rows or error values. I think the hidden rows here is key, because if we're going to filter, it will hide rows, and so it will ignore them, which is what we want. So let's go. Okay, so we want option 7, and then we want our reference, our array or our reference. So in this case, it's these ones here, these 20 cases. Now I'm just going to lock these cells into place. It just makes it a little easier to drag and drop and copy the formula across. And so if I was just to drag that down, it only refers to the cells that I've locked in place. The only thing I need to change now is my function number. And so for average, average was a function number of 1. And so there you go. The average age of the 20 people that took this test was 27.3. Standard deviation, that has a function number of 7. And so I just need to change this to a 7. And then the median has a function number of 12. And so I'm just going to change that to 12. And so quite quickly, I've calculated some basic stats on the entire cases that we've got here. And just as quickly, I can drag these across the different columns and get stats on all these different other aspects. Now, I'm going to get these sort of error values here. that's because really average and standard deviation median doesn't really work for uh, categorical kind of data. So I'm just going to delete that. But it's still cool because I can still figure out, or I can still ask, what the count is. Now this is where the really, I suppose, useful and interesting bit comes in, is that if I highlight these column headers, I then click on my filter button and watch this. So let's just say I want to see everyone who likes chocolate. Voila, there we go. So I can immediately see that nine of the respondents prefer chocolate. I can see that of those people that like chocolate, the average age was 28.5. Now that's just a bit silly, so we can put that down to about there. We can do that for that one as well, but you get the idea. The average age is 28.6. On test one, the people that like chocolate had an average test score of 7 out of 10. And so, the possibility is really endless. You can say, okay, well now show me those that like to drive a car. And so you can kind of do sub um, sub analyses of what's going on here, which is really, really nifty, really handy. It just kind of gives you a quick glimpse as to what your data might be doing and might be saying. And so really, really quickly you can get this basic stats delivered to you dynamically, which is, I think, is pretty cool. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you get to use this aggregate function. If you have any comments or questions, send them through. Love to hear from you guys. Hope it helps. See you later. Bye.